and viewers and listeners. It's Sister Shanaz. We're continuing our talk from last week. Last week we spoke about, are you ready? And this week we're speaking about, okay, so you're ready. What is it that you're going to look for in your partner? With me is Sister Zahra. Sister Zahra, please introduce yourself.
Hi, Assalamu alaikum. I'm Zara, your host and your coach, and we are here for today. That's episode 2 of Marriage Maze, Matrix, and Living WorldWise. In this, we are going to talk about what kind of partner we are looking, the psychological things we have to look around, and all the red and green flags within.
Inshallah. Okay. All right. So from experience, we find that when I find that when people are looking, we're very superficial. We will just be at the top level of what we're looking for. Okay. So people will come and at the beginning, they will say, oh, we just want a nice girl. We just want a nice boy. That's it. So a nice girl and a nice boy is, it's quite a wide thing. So you think, yes, okay, we've got lots of nice boys and nice girls. Let's see which one we can or we can set up with this family. So you introduce them to a nice boy or a nice girl, and they say, oh, actually, my daughter wanted somebody who was over 6 foot, if the guy is not 6 foot. Or my son wanted somebody who is slim and fair. Or they will say, oh, but the girl is this and we do not want this or the other. So it begins very, very broadly. We just want a nice person. And then all the ins and outs come out of it. Oh, he's too short, he's too fat, he's too his family's too big. So all these little things, they come into play. Now, do we have an idea of what we really want? Do parents have an idea of what they really want? So let's go to Sister Zara and look at what we really should be looking out for when we're looking for a partner.
Exactly. So as Sister Shanaz told us about that, the people come with some perspective about the girl and the boy. So first of all, we are going to talk about the parents. In that, the parents who are looking for a girl or boy for their own children, they have to discuss things in home before going out, and the things they have to discuss if they are looking like what the things are. They have to think that, like, if the traditional parents are helping to identify to getting a match for their child, then as an Islam said, that are you looking for the faith, are you looking for the money, are you looking for the face value? And there is a in Quran there is a level of that, like, first is the faith, then is mm, the face value, and then there is the finances. And we just stuck onto that three values when we are looking for a girl or boy. Let's go deeper into that. Like, is that there is a match into the values, the how we meet people and how we respond to the people? Is there a match about our needs, that our what is the choices our children are telling us? Like, as Sister Shana's told, that that the face look like that, the height look like that. But have we talked with our children in a deeper level, or have we talked with with the parents, other parents? We have the asking the right questions, how they behave and how there are other choices in the life,
Mhm.
right? So what do you think that the expectations in the culturally there are, we should ask in the deeper questions here?
I think parents, in a way, even parents don't know what they're looking for. It's
Mm-hmm.
quite simple because um, obviously, when we look at Islam, we know for a man it's just the four things that he should look for, and for a woman it's just the two things, that if his deen and his personality is good, then we should marry them. And for a man, if it's her beauty, her deen, her background, and so on. But the thing is, I think we majority of the time the parents let the children take the lead. Now, the children will take the lead, but there's certain things that the children are not adamant about, but the parents are adamant about. And one of those things is the caste issue. So she's got to be tall, she's got to be pretty, she's got to be from this caste. Now, okay, so who's come up with this? Oh, well, my son doesn't want to marry anybody that's dark. My son doesn't want to marry anybody. The son probably doesn't even know because boys don't look at these sort of things. I think boys are quite, they don't take these things to heart, not like mums do. And a lot of the times, mum will say, "Oh no, but she's not pretty enough for my son," or "She's not good enough for my son." She will make the decision, and it will be a no. Whereas if perhaps the boy had looked at the photograph, if perhaps the boy had had a chat with the young lady, maybe the match would have gone ahead. So sometimes I think it's even parents don't really go into the depth of things because with parents, caste is a big thing. So if you're not at the caste level, then you know you may be not considered immediately. And then with the photographs that we spoke about earlier, that if you're not looking pleasing on the photograph, then you'll be dismissed immediately as well. So I think the in-depth is where we really need to work with people, is you have to look at the other things in life as well. You have to look beyond the wedding day. You have to look beyond the what will people say when, you know, they see him or they see her, because people will only see you on that one day and they will just look at you on that one day and make their comments, but you have to live with that person. So your choices are going to be stuck with you, not with those people. Those people have had their good meal and they've gone home. So it's you. How are, you know, what things are you looking for? If you're looking for a really good looking man who's, you know, like a movie star, then perhaps his personality won't be that great and you will suffer later on. And if you're looking for your baradari, your child will probably sit at home and before you know it, they're in their 30s. So we have these sort of issues that even I think parents can hinder the progress of their child's marriage. And reverts, for instance, we have issues with parents accepting reverts because we're Pakistanis. The majority of people I work with are Pakistanis. So they do have that problem accepting others, accepting reverts, accepting other castes. So it's quite a big mix of things.
Yeah. So that's brings some thoughts into my mind, and I will put them here. Like, when we are discussing in home all these things and that caste system, then I will being a really, really comment here when you said that you are not going to do the cousin marriage, but the caste is basically the
Mhm.
somehow second, third, fourth cousins. So, isn't it the same thing? So then
Yeah.
if you are going into the
All
caste
cousins
marriage,
are somewhere along the line, yeah.
exactly. So
Mhm.
we are all cousins in somewhere.
Somewhere,
So
yeah.
then why can't you do the direct cousin marriage, right? Why you are saying no to it? And
Mhm.
then I will say that, as in a Muslims, we need to living in the West. We need to come out of this thought, like Pakistani only marry Pakistani.
Yeah.
There are lots of good girls who are not Pakistani even. And your child is not anymore eating the curry travel. They might like eating the diverse food. So thing is that, why you really need a Pakistani girl or boy for your child. This is the biggest question right now. There are lots of girls and boys who are looking to get married, but these are the road blockers, or
Mhm.
actually the road is bulldozed because of all these things. So let's put it here that what you can see in that, in a way we can match the values. And what does the values mean here? Like, what things connect, and these
Mhm.
things are more important. And we want to make you aware about that, rather than just seeing the big three things, like, uh, color, age,
Height.
and
Yeah, yeah,
finance. Let's
yeah.
go a little bit beyond that and let's start doing that. And as Sister Shanaz mentioned it earlier, like if your child is not taking initiative, then you have to take the initiative and discuss the things with them and put the oil to make this car running. Otherwise, you will all sitting down and waiting to be fairy tale to start.
Mhm.
But yeah,
Definitely. I think it's everybody needs to be on the same page when we start looking for somebody. Parents need to sit down with their children and discuss with them, look, 10 years down the line, you won't even remember he was so good looking, or he's over 6 foot. Those things won't even matter to you. And everyday life is boring. When you have to pay bills, it's not fun. When you have to do the grocery shopping, it's not fun. When you have to peel the garlic and onions, it's not fun. So your everyday life is going to kick in, after marriage. So is it going to be as glamorous as we're making it out? I mean, the wedding day is going to be very glamorous, and most people focus on the wedding day, but focus on what will happen after. And parents need to sit down with their children. And I often find that I often find parents will say these things to me, not the child, that, oh, he's got to be this height because my daughter says so. So when your daughter said this to you, did you not discuss with her, that if she wants somebody over 6 foot, then anyone that's under 6 foot, you are what? There's 90% of people that you're not even going to meet, because, and they could be wonderful people. They might be the best, amongst them, there'll be the best match for her. There could be the best match for her, but you're not going to meet any of those because you're going to go for this one, person because of the height. So you're ticking that one box. Then it's like with the caste system. I often find people think that the reason they look for the caste system is because they believe that they're going to be similar to us in background, and therefore our issues, our needs, our background is similar. So we will, we have been similar in the past, and we will be similar moving forward. That doesn't always work. That's not always the case. And then with having a fair color and so on, fair color is not the be all and end all. Is this girl going to be a good mother to your grandchildren? Is she going to be a good daughter-in-law to you? Is she going to love you and respect you as you deserve to be loved and respect? Or is she going to be if you wanted to be a beauty queen, is she going to be too busy in her beauty regime, and ignoring all the rest of you? So it's I think it's a very difficult area that we're working with there, because what do you want? What are you looking for? When we start off with those words, the answer is very, very simple. But when you start working with the people, then the can of worms is opened, and it's quite difficult to get everything back in order.
yeah, that is true. So for that, we will just move on that, if as you are a parent are only the leader, and how could you discuss things and what things you could
Mhm.
discuss with your children. And I will talk about these points here, that how to go beyond the surface and little bit in the second layer when you are looking for a bride or groom, or we are discussing with anyone, what kind of questions or what kind of things you start doing it if you're not doing it, and how could you do that. So most of all, I will say that the emotional maturity and the shared values. And what I mean with the emotional maturity is that how you manage the stress, how you manage the things of disagreements, how you manage the responsibilities in house, the shared responsibilities, where not one person feel burdened and in the house chores or in the financial ways, first of all, stress, I will talk about that as in a woman, and there is a things which we go from a hormonal change, and that stresses. And as in a boy, there is a stress about the work-life balance, where they are working to meet the deadlines and things, and which is stressful. The time zones they are working might be varied in a different days. Some days they might have to work in the evenings as well. They are not able to give you that much time, and that is creating a stressful situation, how you are going to manage that. And then the responsibilities of the finance and your demands, both of, like, you have likes and dislikes, and you want over the branded of the brands things, and that cost the money, and you are stressing that you never give me something. How you are going to manage, like, demands of the finance and the time. Then I will add into that emotional maturity is that disagreements, like, how you are going to deal with that, how you are going to discuss with that, which kind of which people could be involved in that discussions. Either you are taking, a girl is taking all the issues rather than talking to her husband, but talking to her mother and siblings and all the friends, and not resolving by communicating where the problems start, and there is she's just fighting and brooding and everything. So there, that emotional maturity is important, to understand for child, like, how you are taking the decisions, who, from where you are taking the advice, where you are going to keep the respect of your family, like, you and your husband is a family then, right? And that respect, keeping the boundaries, keeping the disagreements in there, or you are spreading all over the community about that. These kind of conversation, you don't ask these to the bride or groom, you have to discuss in the home, delegating that, are you ready for that, and are you, how you are going to deal with these things in that point. And then it comes that emotional maturity of the deen and the practicing things. What are the non-negotiables in your relationship? What kind of things you are looking at that? If you are looking for a professional, highly professional girl or a girl, then you need to expect that, she might need to work after the marriage, and that is because she put 23 years old of her life to achieving that position. And if you are not ready to give her that space, then that choice is not the right choice for you.
Exactly.
That is the most important thing while choosing a professional woman who is already working, who already invested her quarter of her life in some profession. And then, are you ready to give her that support? Because or that girl as well who is professional, is she ready to take a break in between when it's needed? Because you have to bear the children, you have to give the birth, you have to take the maternity leave, you have to find or spend money onto the child care as well. So these are the practical things you ask, rather than just being staying on the surface what you want. And similarly, the most important things is people ask me, discuss with me that, I am the only child, or I am the only carer for my parent at the moment. And if you want your daughter-in-law act as your daughter, take the responsibility of everything. So as an a boy, are you going to give that support to the girl's family, because they don't have anyone else as well? So these are the questions I will think needs to be asked. What do you think, Shanaz?
I think they're absolutely amazing points, and really, those are the questions that should be asked. But I've not had those questions put, like even when I've spoken to parents and said, think deeper and think about these things, and it's like, no, well, we will deal with that when that happens. At the moment, let's just focus on getting the rishta done, finding the people, and finding the top level stuff, the superficial stuff. Let's
Mm-hmm.
find that stuff first
Mm-hmm.
before we get into the deeper stuff. Now, when they find that stuff and they start with them, with their preparations, I think the deeper stuff gets left behind. The deeper stuff is never discovered between them. It's never discussed between them, because by this time, excitement has built up. The boy and the girl have started seeing each other and speaking to each other, and the parents are excited about the wedding, and the wedding planning comes into action. So the deep stuff, what you've said is amazing, and it's, touches the hearts. And I think if people listen to that before, I mean, inshallah, our intention is that people do listen to these videos and then make their decisions or then go ahead with their search. If they do that, then inshallah, that's wonderful, sort of like personality building, making sure that you discuss everything, you look at everything at a deeper level, and then go ahead with it. But from my own experience, I find that we're not deep people. We are more, as a community, we're more about, we'll deal with that when we get there. And I
Mm.
find parents saying that to me all the time, we'll deal with that when we get there. And so as my job is not to sort of like tell them about sort of like make them listen to this or make them do a wedding course. Because I often think we should have children should go to a marriage course before they get married, so they know everything. So they know that, after the wedding, people are going to go home and you are going to have this life that you need to live, and you need to be prepared for this. You're going to be bored. There's going to be poverty. Sometimes there's going to be disagreements. There's going to be arguments. There's going to be lots of things going on. You're going to be aging, you're going to be sick, you're going to see each other being, you're going to see each other being ill, even if it's only a cold or a flu, but still it's not nice seeing, as you don't think of these things. So they should really, I think, most majority of children should go on these courses even before they say, yes, let's start searching. When they am I ready to get married? Yes, I am. Okay, let's attend a course before I start searching.
And I will say that it should not be the course only who for the children, but for the parents as well,
Parents as
because they
well.
are
Take your
they
parents
are
with
they
you.
are
Mhm.
involved in that process. And let's go on to the next phase of our this discussion is
Can
about.
I just say about the parents? Because often you find the parents will say, "Oh, ਸਾਡੀ ਤੇ ਗੁਜ਼ਰ ਗਈ ਹੈ, ਹੁਣ ਅਸੀਂ ਕੀ course ਤੇ ਜਾਣਾ ਵੇ." So it's like we have this very with the Pakistanis, we have this very, a way of thinking, and it's like whenever you say, "Oh yeah, I don't need to do this. My life is
Yeah,
is complete." So
exactly.
if you're not going to be able to encourage the parents, I'd definitely encourage the children to go.
Yeah. So, and here I will
Mm.
then put an extra point here that, if you think you don't want to go into any kind of group of the course or something, and you have some questions in your mind, you can have come to person like me who is a counselor and who is a coach and get a session or two for the clarity. So you will be more aware of about your choices and what you want to look into the someone and how you want to put yourself into that relationship, right? So this is could be an also an option because you think the group might not be uh, addressing your needs as a parent or as a person. And let's go on to the third phase of that discussion, which is the psychological reference. Like we will see when a child is have the some anger or some other issues, and we listen that dialogue. Let him get or her get married, and she would be all right.
Mhm.
So this is called in a way that there are some red flags, which is that red flags means that there is an anger issues, there is an dishonesty in the relationships of lying or having the other like being flirty, I will say, like being people
Mhm.
person, always people pleaser.
Mhm.
These kind of behaviors are there, and you need to discuss about these things, and you need to pick up these things even if you are in a relationship, or if you are talking in a like in a mature base. Please pick up these things with the small things, if how that person is behaving in small things, is that person is controlling or possessive, is that person is you know keeping get angry onto every small things, and how that person is behaving. And then there is something is that the green flags, we will talk about that, is that person is kind, is that person is understanding, is that person is listening to you and responding. And similarly, both of the person, I'm talking not talking about the boy or the girl, because you both are in the relationship, you both have to know how to listen, and you both have to know how to respond, not react. That is the most important thing in the relationship, any relationship, even with your parents, and as in like parent child relationship, or the spouse relationship, or the friends relationship. Think that and how you can work around that. What do you think about these things, Shanas?
Um, I think it's like you said, with all relationships, we need to make sure that we need to have dialogue with all the relationships that we have. With a new person coming into the house, we obviously need to give that new person space and that confidence that yes, they will be listened to. And this has got to be done before when you are searching. So the person has to know that yes, I do have support there. I can grow as an individual. I can grow as a person. I can bring my ideas to the table and live my life according to my own terms and conditions. Of course, taking in consideration the terms and conditions of the other person as well, and it's a give and take. So we have to, the children both have to be taught to compromise, because we often tell the girl to compromise, and with the boys we're saying, oh no, no, you're the boy, you don't need to do that. We don't do this in our family like this. We don't do this. So she has to change everything, but he has to change nothing. So it's very it's a give and take, and it is important that parents are on board. It is important children are on board. It is important we get advice. It is important that we learn about the rights of the other person and our own as well. So we mustn't neglect our own rights.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
So that is there, getting uh, we all love that, as you mentioned so many times, that we all love the wedding day, wedding preps, and the
Mhm.
honeymoon period, but the marriage is a lifelong decision, and you need to think about all the small things as well. I'm not
Mhm.
saying that you have to think too much. It's that about the character building of yourself, because you are going to go in a relationship where you have to have a really wonderful life together, where it's a shared values, shared
Mhm.
goals, shared purposes. Just please talk about that, how you want to see you as an married couple in 10-year times.
Exactly.
That is the question you need to ask the spouses. You need to ask when you are meeting a boy or girl first time. Tell me where you are looking for yourself in 10 years. Like, if someone say, oh yeah, I'm just being want to be a housewife, looking after the children, house duties and things, and watching Netflix and blah blah blah, and
Yeah, yeah.
just spending the things. So remember, it does have the price, a big huge compromise. And
We laugh at that, but that is what most people say.
yeah.
Oh, I can't even think about what I'm going to be doing next week, let alone 10 years' time.
Exactly, the life we are living in 2025, right? We are
Mhm.
not living in 1950s, where there is no opportunity, where there's no culture, where you are not doing anything.
Mhm.
But simply people, if you are even managing your Facebook page every day, updating every single detail of your life, right? This take ideas, you are using them. But
Mhm.
what if your husband don't like to be shared photo on the Facebook?
Mhm.
Then what you will say? He is not the person. He will say, don't put my photos on, don't put the children photos on.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
does it be a really a shock for you after the getting married? You know,
Mhm.
not everybody like to share the photos and the stuff, but your Insta is full of all the events of your life.
Yeah, all the
You,
posing, yes, yeah.
yeah. Do
Mhm.
you agree to stop that? No, but how could you think about that? That is the point. Like, but there are huge changes coming in front of you where when you're going to get married.
Mhm.
Uh, it's not only the small things. Please think about these things. I'm not saying just leave a really good rishta proposal in that process, but if
Mhm.
you then know what is you are going to compromise.
I just want to get in there when you just said, I don't want you to leave a good rishta because of this one thing. I had a little while ago. I had this really good rishta. The chap was a doctor. He was over 6 foot, so all the superficial stuff was there. It was fantastic. He was religious, and he said that he didn't like free mixing. So and he didn't like music. And he had written this down on his profile. And so this, when I sent this profile to the young lady's family, and they said, "Oh, can you ask him if he will allow music at the wedding?" So I got back to him and I said, "Oh, I know you've said that you don't like music, and I understand it's a day-to-day thing. In your day-to-day life, you don't like music, that's fine. But let's say if it was the young girl's brother's wedding or sister's wedding, and they were to have music at their wedding, would that be a problem for you?" And he said, "No, no, for me, that's not going to be a problem, but I wouldn't have it at my own wedding." So when I got back into to that family and said, "Well, it's not a problem if you have music at the other children's wedding, but not at his wedding, he won't want it." Immediately, "Oh, okay. We have big weddings, we have DJs, and we have talkies. So in this case, this rishta is not munasib for us." And it was, it's like all the other things were munasib, were like we say, it was all tick boxed. So I think we are on the surface of things, we all say the right things. Yes, yes, we would just want to get married, we want a nice person. But then when you start looking deeper, and deeper, if it was deeper in the sense where you're speaking from, it would be fantastic. But the deeper that comes out of these some of the people that we deal with, which makes it really difficult, is, "Oh, well, if we're not having music at the wedding, then you're not the right person for me."
Exactly. And that is perfectly good for the boy as well because it's a big conflict afterwards, right?
Exactly, yes, yeah.
So they have their priorities right.
Mhm.
But the thing is that may Allah give her the better spouse, which is being that is the point where we said that values are matched or not.
Mhm.
These are the values, right? So he's a practicing Muslim, and as a practicing Muslim, the music is the beyond
Mhm.
everything. We all do listen, but we follow it or not follow it is a different kind of question. So
Mhm.
uh, that if you want the practicing, then these comes with the practicing.
If in this case, if it was just okay, then we do love music, but we won't have it at the wedding because we've got such a good, fantastic rishta.
Mm,
We'll just, leave that little, that aspect out of our wedding day. But they chose not to do that, which is
mm.
really, it just goes to show that we are, we're this close to something, and then we just sort of like think, no, we're not going to do it because our, like you said, values, even though these values may not serve you, but we still have these values and that we want to stick by them.
Yeah, exactly. And that is also called emotional maturity for both of them because they know that it doesn't work for them,
Mhm.
right? But may Allah give both of them the better match.
But you,
Uh,
inshallah, inshallah,
Inshallah,
yeah. Mhm.
inshallah. And yes, that is as almost the end of our today's podcast. I will ask Shanaz what is the last.
Right, before we end, there's a message in the chat, and the person says that people are usually afraid to discuss the deeper stuff, and can these be discussed by the imam who's conducting the nikah, like it is in Christian wedding ceremonies or wedding preps and so on.
Mhm.
And people may not want to go on the course because, it's just another thing to do for the wedding. So would it be better to have it at the nikah ceremony? Now, what do you, well, I'll tell you what I think, and then you can tell us what you think. Like what personally, I think on the wedding day, is anybody really listening to the nikah ceremony?
Yes,
We're all
exactly.
looking at ourselves and taking selfies, even the mums are taking selfies and everyone. Are we really listening to the Imam and what he is saying? Some people are because, they're interested in what he's got to say. But the people that should be listening, are they listening? So what's your take on this about the
I will say this is not for the people, right? If the Imam said that you
Mhm,
can't back off at the last minute,
mhm.
right? So these are the things you have to talk before.
Yeah,
And I will say way before, even you
yeah,
fix the date.
yeah. I mean, that was just said it's not on the Nakar day. They would have preferred it before. But then before, when do you see but when do the couple see the imam together? They don't. I think it's the parents that go and
And
arrange
if we
the
see
imam.
if we see that, the translation of the nikah, I think there is all things might be included, like, which is called the khutbah and nikah. There is something the
Yeah, yeah.
imam.
Imam must always do a beautiful khutbah at
Yes,
the
and
nikahs because
it
I
it,
like to
it
listen.
involves everything, but
It
because you don't
does.
know
It's,
the language, and
mhm.
it might be either in Arabic or Urdu or English, but nobody's focusing on to that, and it's always been there.
It has. It has. All the nikahs I've been to are beautifully, spoken about, and the imams always, does, give the hadiths and the Quran chapters about the Quran ayahs about how to treat each other and so on. It's always lovely, mashallah.
Yeah, yeah, but at the moment we are in a second episode where we discussed about what you think before getting married, what you discuss in the home with the child and the parents, and when you are meeting a marriage consultant and they are offering you some beautiful, introducing you with some beautiful people. Beautiful mean, like, character wise, I will always say,
Mhm.
not the face value is important but not that important. So just give yourself a week before starting and thinking all these things. Listening our videos maybe spark some thoughts into your in your mind, and you can contact any of us whatever your needs are. If you are just
Mhm.
looking for the rishta and everything, you can go to the Shanas,
Mhm.
contact her. And if you are looking for a session with me where you can discuss in a broad way, in a non-judgmental way, what you are
Mhm.
thinking and how to communicate your needs about that, you can reach out.
Mhm.
Thank you very much for listening. Take care.
Yeah, thank you. Khuda Hafiz. Take
Allah
care.
Hafiz. Allah Hafiz.